They called me the disgrace of the family, a mistake they wanted to erase from every memory. My own father once told me, "You're the ugly duckling of this family, and no degree will change that." Imagine hearing those words from the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. But when I returned, standing tall among those who once judged their silence was louder than any words. This isn't a story of revenge, but of finding my own voice in a world that tried to silence it. A story about how the echo of their cruelty became the soundtrack to my triumph. If you've ever felt overlooked or undervalued, this story is for you. Join me to discover how I turned bitter criticism into a rock-solid foundation for success. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a single step of this journey. I grew up in a world obsessed with appearances and social standing. My parents, pillars of our community, cultivated an image of perfection for our family. My older brother Ethan was their ideal, intelligent, handsome, and effortlessly successful. He was their pride, the golden child. Then there was me. With my ordinary looks, thick glasses, and an unyielding passion for technology, I was always in the background. I constantly felt like I never quite measured up to their sky-high expectations. Harsh, relentless comparisons became the very definition of my worth within that family. I was the different one, and that difference was always highlighted, always amplified as a fundamental flaw. It felt like I was living in a shadow not just of Ethan, but of an ideal I could never reach. Now that you understand the suffocating atmosphere I grew up in, let's go deeper into the early conflicts that shaped my desperate need for escape. Growing up, my solace wasn't found on a sports field or at a school dance. It was in the hushed aisles of the library, lost in the intricate world of computer science books. While Ethan was out charming everyone at social gatherings, I was devouring algorithms and programming languages. But even this quiet refuge was under attack. My mother, Elizabeth, would frequently dismiss my passion as useless, constantly telling me I needed to focus on social skills to get ahead in life. It was a subtle, insidious dismissal, making me feel like my very interests were a flaw, an impediment to the perfection they so desperately sought. The only person who truly saw me, who nurtured my nascent interests, was my grandmother, Dorothy. Her home filled with the scent of old books and fresh-baked cookies was my sanctuary. She'd listen, truly listen, as I rambled about circuit boards and coding logic. Intelligence is the most valuable thing, not appearance. She would tell me, her voice, a gentle balm against the constant comparisons and criticisms from my parents. Those words were a lifeline, a tiny spark of validation in an otherwise cold world. She was the one who taught me that my mind, not my looks, was my greatest asset, a concept utterly alien to the rest of my family. The quiet undertones of dismissal soon escalated into outright conflict during my junior year of high school. A group of Ethan's friends, led by a particularly nasty guy named Jason, started a social media account. Their sole purpose, to mock me. They'd post the most unflattering photos accompanied by cruel, biting captions designed to tear me down. Each notification was a fresh stab, but the deepest cut came when I saw Ethan's username among their followers. My own brother complicit in my humiliation. When I confronted him, my voice trembling with a mixture of hurt and disbelief, Ethan just shrugged a casual dismissal that spoke volumes. "It was just a joke, you're too sensitive," he said, his eyes devoid of any real empathy. Then came the familiar sting. "Maybe if you put more effort into yourself, people wouldn't tease you." It was a complete inversion of reality, blaming me for their cruelty, suggesting my inadequacy was the root cause of their malice. The boy who was supposed to protect me, who shared my blood, was actively participating in my torment, and then gaslighting me about it. The final crushing humiliation arrived during Ethan's graduation party, a sprawling affair designed to showcase his achievements to their entire social circle. I had spent hours getting ready, desperately hoping that just for one night I might blend in, might even be accepted. I chose an outfit, carefully tried to style my hair differently, painted on a brave smile. But as I stood near the edge of the sprawling garden, I overheard Jason and his friends, their laughter echoing through the night air, openly ridiculing my outfit. My heart sank, a familiar ache spreading through my chest. Then Ethan's voice, loud and clear, cut through the night. It's not her fault she didn't get the good genes. The words hung in the air, a public declaration of my perceived inferiority delivered by my own brother, the golden boy. My face burned with shame. What was truly devastating, what cemented the bitter truth, was seeing my father Robert witness the entire scene. He heard it all. He saw my humiliation, and he did nothing. Instead, he simply smiled a proud, almost dismissive smile, before gently leading Ethan away to greet more guests, as if my public shaming was a minor inconvenience, or perhaps even an unspoken validation of their worldview. In that moment, standing alone amidst the glittering party, a profound and undeniable truth etched itself deep within me. I would never be enough for this family. Their approval was a mirage perpetually out of reach no matter what I did or how much I tried. The pain was sharp, but clearer than any crystal it forged an iron resolve within me. A quiet, burning defiance began to ignite whispering promises of a future where my worth would be determined by me and me alone. This painful realization became the catalyst pushing me towards a pivotal moment that would dramatically alter the course of my life and reveal a surprising path forward. With an iron will forged in the crucible of my family's disapproval, I plunged myself into my studies, especially programming. The library became my second home, the hum of the computers a comforting symphony. My computer science teacher, Mr. Johnson, quickly recognized something in me that my family never bothered to see: raw potential. He encouraged me relentlessly, pushing me to apply to top tech universities across the country, confident in my abilities even when I still harbored doubts. Then the acceptance letter arrived. It was from a leading university, a beacon of technological innovation, and even better, it came with a partial scholarship. My heart soared. I was ecstatic. This was it, I thought. This was my chance to finally make my family proud, to prove to them that my useless passion was anything but. I imagined their smiles, their words of congratulations, the silent acknowledgement that they had been wrong about me all along. But at dinner that night, my carefully constructed hope shattered into a million pieces. My father, Robert, barely glanced at the letter. His gaze was dismissive, his voice flat. "California too far," he said, as if distance was the only relevant factor. My mother, Elizabeth, immediately piled on. "A partial scholarship means we still have to pay a large sum." She interjected her tone, suggesting it was an imposition, not an investment. They then delivered the crushing blow: investing in Ethan's law school made more financial sense than investing in a computer hobby of mine. "You're the ugly duckling of this family, and no degree will change that," my father stated coldly, his words hitting me like a physical blow. The room fell silent, the weight of his pronouncement suffocating. I stood up, my legs trembling, my voice barely a whisper. "So that's why I'm not worth investing in, because I'm not pretty enough." His reply was delivered with chilling pragmatism. "We're just being realistic. Maybe you should try community college first to see if you can improve yourself." The audacity of it, the sheer unadulterated dismissal, left me reeling. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. Without another word, I stumbled from the table, locking myself in my room. Tears streamed down my face, hot and furious, washing away the last vestiges of my naive hope. Through that blurry haze of pain, a new, steely resolve hardened within me. I would never again beg for their approval. Their opinion of me was irrelevant. I would build my own worth on my own terms. The next day, my grandmother Dorothy called. It was as if she had a sixth sense and uncanny ability to know when I was hurting. When I choked out the story, she listened in silence, her quiet presence a comfort even over the phone. After a long moment, she finally spoke, her voice surprisingly firm. "Pack your bags," she instructed. "Tomorrow be at the bank at noon. I have something for you." I met her as instructed, my heart a tangle of confusion and despair. She handed me a check for $20,000. My eyes widened in disbelief. "I've been saving for years," she said, a faint smile gracing her lips. "I always knew you might need a way out of here." Her eyes, usually so gentle, were resolute, filled with an unwavering belief in me. "Go to California, become the person you were meant to be." I hugged her tightly, both of us crying freely, a silent understanding passing between us. "I'll pay you back every penny," I promised, my voice thick with emotion. "Just succeed." She whispered, her hand gently patting my back. "That's all I need." Her quiet sacrifice, her unwavering faith, was the true breakthrough. It wasn't just money, it was freedom, a declaration that someone finally believed in my potential more than they believed in my flaws. It was the spark that ignited my escape, the promise of a future shaped by my own hands, not by their damning words. Armed with my grandmother's belief and her incredible gift, I stepped into the unknown, ready to face the world on my own, but the journey ahead would test my resolve in ways I couldn't have imagined. 2 days later, with a single suitcase, my precious laptop, and the precious check from Grandma Dorothy, I left. I didn't say goodbye to my parents. I didn't say goodbye to Ethan. Instead, I left a letter, a defiant promise scrawled on a piece of paper. "I will become the person you will regret despising." It was a declaration of war, not on them, but on the version of myself they had tried to force me into. I was done being their project, their disappointment. The first few months in my new city, a bustling metropolis I now called California, were brutal. Truly brutal. Grandma Dorothy's gift was a godsend, but tuition alone was exorbitant, and living expenses in a new city were astronomical. I worked multiple part-time jobs, a cashier at a campus bookstore, a data entry temp, even tutoring kids in basic coding, all while trying to keep up with a demanding computer science curriculum. Some nights I'd collapse onto my makeshift bed, utterly exhausted, my mind a whirlwind of code and caffeine. In those quiet, desperate moments, my father's words, "Maybe you should try community college first, see if you can improve yourself," would echo in my head, a chilling reminder of the doubts they'd instilled. Had I made a mistake? Was I truly not capable? My roommates, Amy and Chloe, became my first true allies. They saw me at my most vulnerable, struggling to pay bills, fueled by ramen and sheer determination. One evening, Chloe, a vibrant art student with an uncanny ability to spot opportunities, handed me a flyer. "Hey, check this out," she said, her finger pointing to a coding competition. "The prize, a cool $2,000. My first instinct was to say no. I was already stretched thin. But the desperation was a stronger motivator than any fear of failure. I plunged into it, working nonstop for 72 hours, fueled by energy drinks and a burning desire to prove myself. I didn't win first, but I snagged third place, earning 1,000 and, more importantly, valuable recognition from industry professionals who had served as judges. One of those judges, Professor Davies, became an unexpected mentor. She saw past my tired eyes and messy bun, recognizing a sharp mind and an unyielding work ethic. She introduced me to key figures in the city's rapidly expanding tech industry. Thanks to her, I landed a summer internship at a small cybersecurity firm. For the first time in my life, I was in an environment where my skills and intellect were not just valued, but celebrated. My appearance didn't matter. My family's dismissive words didn't matter. Only my ability to solve problems, to code, to innovate. My circle of friends began to expand, including Noah, Sophia, and Liam. True friends who never made me feel self-conscious about my looks or my past. They cared about my ideas, my drive, my laughter. The physical changes happened gradually, almost unnoticed. Reduced stress improved my skin, giving it a healthy glow. Walking everywhere because I couldn't afford bus fare helped me achieve a more toned physique. One day, Chloe, with her artistic eye, took my frizzy, neglected hair and transformed it into a stylish, sharp bob that perfectly framed my face. I barely recognized myself in the mirror. It wasn't because I had suddenly become conventionally beautiful. It was because confidence, a quiet, radiant inner confidence, had finally begun to shine through. I was no longer the ugly duckling. I was simply me, finally comfortable in my own skin. In my third year of college, amidst the chaotic energy of a hackathon, I met Ryan. He was different. He was the first person whose presence made my heart flutter for reasons completely unrelated to proving myself. He saw my mind, my passion. "I love the way you think," he told me once, his eyes sparkling. "You see solutions where others only see obstacles." The first time we kissed, a profound sense of healing washed over me, a feeling I didn't even realize I desperately needed. His acceptance was unconditional, a stark contrast to the conditional love I'd always known. I graduated with highest honors and multiple job offers from prestigious tech companies. I had done it, from the girl deemed unworthy of investment to a woman with a promising future laid out before her. But just as this new life began to truly flourish, a devastating piece of news cast a long, dark shadow. Grandma Dorothy had passed away. I grieved for days, a profound, aching sorrow. What hurt almost as much, what twisted the knife in the wound, was that no one from my family, not my parents, not Ethan, thought to contact me. I learned of her passing through a message from her neighbor, a kindly old woman who knew how much Dorothy meant to me. It was the final undeniable proof, if I ever needed it, that I had truly been erased from my family's narrative. I was an afterthought not even worth a phone call. The pain was immense, but it also solidified my resolve. I was truly on my own now, and that was okay. Grief-stricken but resolute, I channeled my pain into purpose, setting the stage for a dramatic career shift and a surprising new venture that would redefine my place in the world. My career officially kicked off at a mid-sized cybersecurity firm, a company at the forefront of digital defense. I started as a junior developer, but I was determined to make an impact to show them I wasn't just another hire. The tech industry, I quickly learned, also had its own subtle biases, a different kind of appearance focus. Here, women were sometimes judged by how well they fit a certain developer archetype, often male, often aggressive. My innovative thinking, which I'd always seen as my strength, was sometimes perceived as a threat by some of my male colleagues. Instead of backing down or conforming, I channeled my grandmother's quiet resilience. I documented everything meticulously, built perfect test cases for my code, and most importantly, I let the results speak for themselves. 6 months in, I identified a critical vulnerability in our flagship product, a flaw that could have cost the company millions. The CTO, Sophia Lee, a sharp, no-nonsense leader, looked at me with new, genuine interest. "Implement it," she said simply, her eyes gleaming, "and I want you on the security audit team from now on." That moment was a profound turning point. Under Sophia's mentorship, I didn't just work, I thrived. She taught me how to navigate the subtle politics, how to assert my expertise, and how to turn perceived threats into opportunities. In my second year, I was leading a small team, developing new cutting-edge security protocols. By my third year, I had been promoted twice, each step up the ladder, validating my worth in a way my family never had. I had built a reputation as a rising star in the tech community, my name whispered with respect at industry conferences. My salary had grown enough to afford a comfortable apartment with a stunning ocean view, a place where I could watch the waves and reflect on how far I'd come. Then the breakthrough that changed everything arrived. While working on a project for a major financial services client, I developed a new algorithm for predictive threat detection. It was revolutionary, a system that could anticipate cyber attacks before they even began. "This is a paradigm shift," Sophia declared after reviewing my work, her voice laced with awe. The company wanted to integrate my algorithm into all their existing products, offering me a hefty bonus and an even higher position. It was everything I had worked for, but something in me, the same instinct that had pushed me away from my past, knew this was bigger than a single company's product. This wasn't just a feature, it was an entire framework. With Sophia's reluctant blessing, she knew what I was capable of, even if it meant losing me. And Ryan's enthusiastic, unwavering support, I took the biggest risk of my life. I left the company. My decision was firm, uncompromising. I was going to found my own cybersecurity startup, Sentinel Shield, built entirely around my predictive security framework. The early days were terrifying. My savings, even with the bonus, dwindled rapidly due to legal fees, patent applications, and initial development costs. My modest dining table became both an office and a meeting space. Ryan, who had transitioned into a brilliant UX designer, contributed countless hours, his belief in me a constant source of strength. Amy, my former roommate and now a successful marketing consultant, introduced me to her cousin, a venture capitalist specializing in tech startups who saw the potential in my vision. And crucially, Noah and Liam from my old study group, now seasoned developers, joined as my very first employees working for equity when I couldn't yet afford competitive salaries. We were a small, dedicated team fueled by passion and a shared belief in what we were building. This wasn't just about a company. It was about building a future, a legacy of my own, free from the shadows of the past. It was a defiant act of self-affirmation, a declaration that my worth was inherent, not granted by others. With my team assembled and a clear vision in mind, the real work began, leading to consequences and triumphs I could only have dreamed of. Our first major client for Sentinel Shield came through Professor Davies's extensive network, a large financial services company, utterly fed up with reactive security measures. They were losing millions to breaches, and our predictive platform was exactly what they needed. Their adoption of our system was a huge success, leading to glowing testimonials and a cascade of new clients. Each success built our reputation, and within an astonishing 18 months, Sentinel Shield had grown from a desperate idea forged on a dining table to a thriving company with 20 employees and a gleaming proper office space. Tech publications started to take notice, their headlines blaring our success. The new frontier of cybersecurity, my story of rising in tech, screamed one industry magazine, featuring a professional, confident photo of me standing in a sharp suit before a wall of glowing monitors. The morning that article was published, I received an email from a distant relative, someone I hadn't heard from in years. "Saw your article in Tech Innovators," it read. "Is that really you? Everyone here is talking about it." The word everyone lingered in my mind. Did that include my parents, who deemed me unworthy of investment? My brother, who stood by as I was dismissed? I didn't ask. I didn't need to. Their sudden interest after years of silence was all the answer I needed. Instead, I channeled my energy into growing Sentinel Shield, focusing on the future, not the past. Our second funding round arrived swiftly, valuing the company at an incredible $40 million. My personal growth paralleled my professional success. I started therapy, a crucial step in processing the deep-seated trauma of my family's rejection. "You built everything from scratch," Dr. Chin observed in one session, her voice gentle. "But a part of you is still waiting for their approval." Her words resonated. Ryan became my unwavering anchor, his steadfast support never faltering. He celebrated every victory, big or small, and held me when the old wounds still ached. 2 weeks after Ryan and I got engaged, a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, I received news of Grandma Dorothy's passing. This time, it wasn't a phone call from my parents. It was a Facebook message from her neighbor, a cruel echo of how truly disconnected I was from my biological family. I broke down in Ryan's arms, grieving not just Dorothy, but the family I never truly had. "Live a life worthy of her belief in you," Ryan gently said, his words a comforting balm. "That's the best goodbye." I heeded his words. I didn't just build a company. I established the Dorothy Scholarship Fund for young people pursuing computer science, ensuring her legacy of quiet support lived on. I had created a family of my choosing, comprised of friends and colleagues who cherished me for who I was, not for what I looked like or how much money I made. The sweet taste of success wasn't just about financial freedom. It was about defining my own worth on my own terms. But even with all this success and self-acceptance, there was one final, unexpected confrontation that would force me to truly face the echoes of my past. Things changed again unexpectedly when I received Ethan's wedding invitation. 10 years of silence broken by a glossy card asking me to witness his big day. My initial thought was to refuse to maintain the distance I'd so carefully built, but something shifted within me. This wasn't about seeking their approval anymore. This was about confronting my own past, about closing a chapter on my own terms. So I decided to attend. The true confrontation, however, didn't happen in a dramatic shouting match. It happened quietly in the elegant reception hall when I faced Ethan and his fiancée, Emily. Emily, a bright and kind woman, turned to me. "Do you know Ethan?" she asked, a polite smile on her face. "Actually," I replied, my voice steady, "I'm his sister." The shock on Emily's face was instantaneous, quickly followed by a deepening concern. The truth about Ethan's deliberate deception to Emily and how my family had treated me began to unravel right there. My mother, Elizabeth, ever the control enthusiast, appeared attempting to smooth over the awkwardness, but Emily surprisingly wouldn't let it go. She frankly questioned my parents about their years of abandonment, her voice firm demanding answers. Then a twist I never saw coming. Emily's father, Mr. Robert, an influential figure in the tech industry, recognized me. "Wait a minute," he said, his eyes widening. "You're the CEO of Sentinel Shield. I've been following your work. Absolutely incredible." His genuine admiration created a stark, undeniable contrast between my hard-won success and the casual disdain my family had always shown me. As I prepared to leave, Ethan found me, his face a mix of shame and resentment. "Couldn't you just let me have this day?" he muttered, his voice low. I looked at him, no anger, just a quiet understanding. "I came to mend Ethan," I gently replied, but the truth always needed to be revealed, for both our sakes. I handed him my business card, a silent gesture of an open door. "You can call me if you truly want to talk honestly about the past." The subsequent conversations between Ethan and me were slow, difficult, but ultimately transformative. He admitted his jealousy of my intelligence, his own insecurities, masked by his cruelty. Our bridge, once shattered, began to slowly rebuild, piece by painful piece. My parents, however, remained entrenched in their old ways, interested only in my success, not the person I had become or the pain they had inflicted. I set clear, firm boundaries with them, choosing peace over a toxic pursuit of their fleeting approval. I established the Dorothy Fund, dedicating it to supporting young people in STEM who might like me feel overlooked. I finally understood that my worth wasn't dependent on my family's approval or any outward appearance. My worth was always there. I just needed to claim it for myself. I had created a meaningful life surrounded by people who cherished my true self. The echo of resilience was no longer the sound of their judgment, but the triumphant anthem of my own voice. This journey taught me that true value comes from within, from building your own path, and from surrounding yourself with those who truly see and celebrate you. What part of this story resonates most with you? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys of transformation.